Now we're going to ask the attention to shift to the soles of the feet. And we're going to start shifting our weight from one leg to the other. And the way that I shift the weight is I push. So now my weight is on my right leg. I'm going to push the right foot in the ground. Let's do it a few times. I push my right foot in the ground, and then my right knee straightens, and I shift with the weight to my left leg. Now I'm going to push my left leg several times. So the quadriceps are working here. They can work a lot if I bend my knee a lot, but they don't have to work hard. I just want to feel the shift that's being done by pushing the foot or pushing the leg into the ground. Now we're going to synchronize this with the breath, and the boss is the breath. The boss of me is my breath. It determines when I move and how fast I move. So we're going to start with weight on our left leg. And when the inhalation comes, I push and shift my weight to the right leg. And then the exhalation, I let down to the ground and surrender to gravity. The exhalation is done, and then comes the inhalation. I push, shift my weight, and ground again. This seems like a really simple exercise, and in fact, it is simple, but it entails really complex processes, because what it does is it grounds me into the ground, it synchronizes me with my breath, it deepens the breath, and if I try to elongate the exhalation a little bit, it'll ground me even more. And as my exhalation is longer, when it's done and I just let go and let the air come in, the inhalation, which is passive, becomes deeper and longer as well. So my focus is the exhalation, the letting down. And when that's done, I just let the air come in and push into the ground and shift my weight. Now, because we're working with the breath and the pushing of the ground, you can actually feel that a lot is going on here. And these are all vagal target organs or end organs. And when we use them, we move them. And we do that by letting our breath take charge and actually regulate this whole movement. The vagus, the social engagement system, is in fact being activated. So adding the breath, a vocal breath, contributes to that activation. So I'm going to exhale with sound, and I'm going to inhale like the yogis do with ujjayi breath. So that's constricting the voice box a little bit, and it's like a whisper. Maybe there's a lot of swallowing going on. Maybe you have a lot of saliva building up in your mouth. That's a good sign. That's a sign the vagus is on. And the next thing that starts happening is because we're building some charge here by pushing into the ground, yeah, and by this movement and deep breathing, not because we inhale deeply, but because we exhale deeply. So all this creates a lot of charge in the body, and some of the discharge is a little bit like a grounding rod. The feet are like a grounding rod, and the legs. And some of the charge is getting grounded through the legs by tremoring. There's a tremor going on in the legs. And if I continue to do this, sometimes this tremor will penetrate my pelvis and maybe even higher up in the body. So let's try to feel that. If you want to feel a good tremor, you want to have the quadriceps work a little bit harder. If your knees are in good shape, you can really go down. So this is not a martial art. I'm not moving in the same height. Yeah. I do want to go up, pushing up, and letting down. And this area actually doesn't do anything, but can you feel some charge building up here? Can you feel some sensation going on here? Maybe some movement going on up here. Isn't it amazing? We're just working with the legs and with the breath, and so much charge and so much movement is generated in the body. Now, when we start this work, sometimes we don't feel so much movement. If you come to this class with some experience of body work, you might feel it fairly quickly. But if this is your first encounter and you haven't touched in, with your body for a long time, it may actually take a long while to do this. So hang in there and be patient. All right. Okay. Now, for some of us, this moment now is not so trivial because there's a lot of energy built in the body. There's a lot of movement in the body now. Even if we don't feel it, there's a lot of tremor going on deep in the tissues. There's lots happening in the body. And sometimes, if my armor is tight, sometimes it might feel like all this movement is pushing into the armor, and that can feel a little bit like anxiety. And then we close up again. Yeah. So we can call this resistance, but we can call it anxiety, but what we want to call it is an opportunity to allow this movement to push our boundaries a little bit more open, as much as we can tolerate. Okay? And then shake your leg. Shake it like you want to throw like a slipper. So let the ankles be very, very free. And shake the other leg. You might feel some heat in the body now. You might feel some movement in the body now.